it's the big day. And I can't lie, I'm a bit nervous because essentially, after I left you in episode 5, 8 months went by of torture. I'm talking about 2 mortgage applications, loads of valuations, a planning app, and today we are down to the wire. If I don't get off the bridge today, I start accruing interest daily, all right? But before we get into all that, let's take a look at how the property looks. So what the hell happened? Simon, you were smashing it out. I know it's been another 8 months. Now, whilst we smashed the refurb out, 4.5 months, and we should have been way off this bridge after 5 to 6 months, the issue was this. When we went to refinance the property, the valuer came out, and it turns out even though this property's been operated as a big sui generis HMO for over 20 years, it didn't have the right piece of paper that the lender needed. Now, the problem with this is this piece of paper, aka planning permission, was going to take months and cost thousands, and we was going back and forth because technically this property has lawful use because it's been used like this for over 20 years. And I don't know how we managed to bridge it in the first place if that wasn't the case, because everybody seemed happy at the time. So we went back to the seller. We got years and years of gas certs, electric certs, HMO licenses. We did all the necessary due diligence. We even had old tenancy agreements, but it was just taking so long. And because there was no guarantees, we just had to do a full app. Now, the benefit of this is originally we was going to get the mortgage for the 7, then do retrospective planning for the 8. But this way we could just go straight to the 8, get the planning permission, the HMO license was already sorted, and that would mean that we were good to go. Because remember, we're trying to be financially free, not locked up. Now, keep in mind, every single month, this bridge is now costing me £2,000. I budgeted for 6 months because I knew I could do the refurb, but now I had an issue. But whilst the planning was going through, which cost £5,000 by the way, for all the plans and the submission and all that stuff, I thought, let me start the valuation process again. And I had 2 valuers come out, and you will never guess what happened. Keep in mind, every single month that goes by now, this place is costing us over £2,000 in the rolled up interest, okay? And if we go over the 12 months limit, it's going to increase significantly. So I'm starting to get a little bit nervy now. So I want to start the second mortgage app and valuation because I want to get the ball rolling. So what we did was we went in with another mortgage company, another valuation. They came out. Guess what they gave us? Keep in mind, we purchased it for 300 grand. We've spent 100 grand on it. Valuation came out as 300 grand. In other words, I've just lost 100 grand, and I'm not gonna get to pull money out. I'm actually gonna add money to it. Not a lot of people talk about this stuff, but if you're not educated and if you don't do this stuff right, or if you just judge it wrong, you could end up actually having to add money when you refinance. And if you've not got that money, you lose the house. So I was like, oh, I need to do another valuation. 3rd time lucky, valuer came out, they liked the property, they knew the property, and we got 450K. And these are the fine margins we're talking about. 2 valuations within 2 weeks, 150 grand difference. Absolutely mental. But I just don't know how you could value this at less because of the income it's producing. So let's take a look at the figures in more detail, and let's look at how much we're pulling out, how much we're leaving in, and what that all important cash flow is. So the numbers: purchase price £300,000, and with the rolled up bridging interest, that means you pay all the interest up front. We had to invest £90,000 to invest in this property. Refurb 100K. So we're £190,000 in the hole at this point. But as I said, we paid the interest in advance. So if we bring it in earlier, we get more at the back end. If we don't, then we have to pay the redemption figure, which was £255,000 in full. Now, the thing with this product, it was a 70% loan to value. So I had to leave 30K in, which was a bit too much. And as you know, the interest rates have been going up, so everything's going against me right now. But even so, with the 450 valuation, the lender pays me £315,000. I pay off the redemption figure to the bridging company, which is in full because we completed on the same day, it expired, 255 grand, which leaves me 60K. How do I feel about that? Well, it's not ideal, clearly. I put 190 in, I've only pulled 60 out, but don't forget the equity. I've got 30% equity in the property still, which I'm happy with, which is £135,000. So if you add the 135 to the 60, I'm £195,000 in the plus. So technically I've made 5 grand if I was to sell it, which I don't mind because I essentially got this house for free, which is what we're trying to do. But I didn't buy this for that reason. I brought this because I had a lump of cash that I wanted to recycle and I wanted to grow, because you know what they say, money in the bank erodes. This money ain't going nowhere. So let's look at the cash flow, which is the main advantage of this deal. Cash flow, 8 rooms producing £4,500 a month, which is nice. The mortgage on the revaluation, remember, now we valued it higher, the payments, will be higher than they would have been at the lower value. Okay. Let me say that again. We want to push the value to recycle our money, but the ironic thing is the higher the valuation you get, the bigger the loan, and therefore the more the monthly payments. Whereas if you keep the valuation humble, you can pull out less, but the cash flow is bigger. So you're constantly balancing that act. And the number one thing here is you never want to be over leveraged, because if something happens to the market, and the market is uncertain right now, you're going to be in deep shizzle. But anyway, so £4,500 income minus £2,000 mortgage leaves £2,500. So usually I would expect to be netting around £2,000 a month on this, but because of these utilities that are killing me, it's more like £1,500 net, because an additional £500 in gas and electric that we're paying right now, which is crazy. Having to fit smart meters, and we're having to do all kinds of stuff just to control the utilities because it is extortionate, and there's 7 bathrooms in here. But even so, that's £1,500 a month, 18 grand a year. And I really, really like that, because that is net wet. And that means that we've got 60 grand out, 135 grand equity, plus £1,500 every single month. So I want to thank you so much for following this journey. It's been a mad one, but overall, I'm pleased. And most importantly, I'm just relieved to be off that bridge. So that's it for the big HMO project. It's been an amazing project. We've added 150 grand worth of value. I've added to my portfolio and added to my all-important cash flow. But I have learned some hard lessons. Make sure you check all documentation before completing on the property, all right? And make sure that you keep it simple on a bridge. You can get in and get out. I'll see you next time.